Hey everybody, welcome to Love and Relo, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed and honored to be here today with Dave Marron, the CEO of NuCompass Mobility. Dave, how's it going?
Fantastic, Ben. Good to see you, buddy.
Dude, it's great. It's great having you here. Honestly, I've been wanting to have you on the show for a long time, and I have to apologize for not doing it sooner. So thank you for being here today with us. I really appreciate it. It's not every day that we get a CEO and co-owner of an RMC on the show. So this is kind of a big deal for me. So I really appreciate it.
Dude, it's a big deal for me. I feel like this is it. This is the pinnacle. I've made it now. I finally got on Ben's podcast.
Now,
So
yeah, now you can just hang it up.
I'm
Now
gonna
this is
retire
it, the
tomorrow.
culmination of a phenomenal career.
Yeah.
No, yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that very much. And get in the comments, y'all. Hit that like button. Let us know who you are, where you are. If you've got questions for Dave, you've got them. Okay, this is your
Go.
opportunity. Okay, you know, I always wanted to kind of connect when you got people coming in. Get in the comments. I want to know who you are, where you are. I'll take your questions as well. I've got things I want to ask Dave, but get in the comments and we'll go ahead and prioritize your questions as well. We actually got a comment from Jillian Guzda. Hey Dave, cool to find out we're both from CT.
Yeah, I'm a Connecticut boy, but I've been in California for a long time, but never forget my roots.
I just learned that people from Connecticut are called nutmeggers.
It was on the tip of my tongue, and then I thought he's not gonna know what a nutmegger is.
I don't. Jill didn't know what a nutmegger is till
It's the
recently.
nutmeg state.
For why though? Like
I have
I grew up, so I don't know
no
if you knew this.
idea.
I grew up in White Plains, New York, right over the border.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know about the nutmeg. I mean, we put it in
Well,
the
you're from
pies,
New
but that's
York. We
about
don't let you in on the secrets. We have a secret handshake too.
it. Oh, then we wouldn't leave probably. I want to, Dave. I always wanted to talk to you a little bit, and we had the opportunity. I think at one point we were on a Ignite session together, weren't
We
we?
were. We were. Boy,
I
that
was
was
so busy, like
terrifying.
being nervous. I don't think I even paid attention. Tell us a little bit about what you talked about.
How could you? I had to look that up recently because that was quite a few years ago. It was at an ERC in
Yeah.
Boston, and you know, this was years ago, and I talked about AI. Can you believe
Oh,
that?
it's
Like
just so ahead of your time.
before anybody was talking about AI, but it was good because nobody really knew anything about it, and they probably just believed whatever I told them, even if it was only half of it was probably right. Yeah,
I know one person that believed what you told him, William Taylor. He didn't
uh,
have a clue until you gave that speech. Coming in from SF, just across the bay from Dave. Dave Marron is one of the all-time greats in our industry. Psyched to see him on your show, Ben. About time. Yes, William, I'm getting my act together.
William, thank you for being here. Fun fact: William and I both went to the same college at
I
different
didn't know
years,
that.
though. Yes, we both went to Boston University. We both met our wives at Boston University. His wife is named Dina. My wife is named Dana. Is that weird or what?
That is wild. That's a lot of coincidence
No,
there.
it is.
I also saw an Ignite that William did about his college years. Very interesting. We'll have to bring that up on another show, William. Yolanda Ingram, hey Dave,
Yolanda!
Nutmeg State. Learn something new every day. Yeah, people are going
Thanks for
crazy for
being
that.
here, Yolanda.
Awesome. It's great. Get in the comments, y'all. This is great. People are checking in. Let us know who you are, where you are. Check in with us. Be cool like Yolanda, William, Jill, Jillian.
Yolanda's great. She's a client, and she's probably. I got to be careful what I say now. She might hold
Oh,
me
oh,
accountable.
let's be on our best behavior here. Okay. This is great. People are clueless in SF. That's fantastic. So funny. Yeah. So you were talking about AI. This had to be 7 years ago, 8 years ago, something like
Yeah,
that. I
yeah,
mean,
something
definitely
like that.
pre-COVID. Um,
Yeah, I
has it
think
has it panned out the way you thought? I mean, any
no.
no. What's different?
Well, it's. I mean, what's different is that it's still just getting started, right? Like, it's fun that we're all actually implementing AI right now, but it's really we're just in the nascent stages. So people are still afraid of it, and it's anytime I go to visit a client and they'll say, what kind of AI do you have on your roadmap? And I'll tell them a little bit about it. And they're like, oh, well, here's our addendum to our contract you're going to need to sign. And you're going to make sure that you follow all of these. And, it's going to become more mainstream, but it's still the new thing.
Are we trusting it too much right now? Like, are we putting too much of our data into it? Are we taking one of my concerns is we're taking the work product out of it, and we're not even like giving it really a good second glance over, and we're just like submitting it or using it without verifying. I just feel like we're trusting it too much right now.
I think it depends on the organization and the individual. You can't trust it. You have to have the human oversight, and you can't be putting sensitive data into an open source AI system. It's got to be closed loop. You got to control the data, but you have to be careful, and you have to have processes and compliance set up. And it'll get better and it'll improve. But my goodness, there's some scary results out there. So you gotta be really on top of the quality control.
Get in the comments, y'all. I'm really curious what you're thinking right now about use case for AI. Are we trusting it too much? Am I being, overly, scared about it? I know William sometimes tells me I sound like a curmudgeon, like a grumpy old man around AI. Like I need to, lighten up a little bit, get with the times, or something. Like I'm over here reading my newspaper, But I don't know, let me know. Please feel free to disagree with me. William says that Dave is the CEO, and William is now a partner, I heard, actually.
Yeah,
so
he
congrats
is.
to you, William. Excellent company there. Eric Morton says you're cosmic soul brothers.
Hey, Eric.
Hit that like button, get in the comments, y'all. Let us know what your thoughts on AI are. If you have questions for Dave Marron about it. Brandy Cooper says, don't let critical thinking die. Yeah.
Amen.
Are kids I say kids, but people coming out of college right now that are producing papers and trusting Chat GPT for research and everything. Are they gonna be able to think? I don't want to be too fatalistic here, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think they are. I don't think critical thinking is dead. By the way, for you students out there, the teachers have AI too. They have software that checks to see if the paper you wrote was AI. I still have kids in high school and college, so it's an arms race. It's pretty amazing.
Inmates versus the asylum arms race with the AI.
It goes both ways, but we have to. We have to embrace it, Ben. We have to. There's a never-ending need to become more efficient, and for what we do in the relocation world to deliver more service at a lower fee. Right. That's just been the tail we've been chasing for a long time. So you've got to use these tools. They're pretty effective at making us more efficient. So.
And you come from, and I was kind of doing some research a little bit before, which I don't do often. Don't worry, no federal agency research, just just basic stuff on the LinkedIn. But you have this cool combination of real estate background, but also like this software SaaS kind of background too. How does that kind of come together for you in your current role?
Yeah, it's everything led me here, right? So you never know where you're going to end up, but really, if you look at my career, I've worked for big organizations. I spent a lot of time in sales. I worked in financial services. I worked in the .com days. I joined a real estate startup that got funded.
Did it hit big? Like, was it one of the ones that like did well, or was it one of the?
It did okay. It eventually got acquired. It got kind of folded into, who are they now? It was Relogy that became it became part of the, I guess now.
Anywhere group now?
Anywhere, Compass, right? They're in there somewhere. But it got out, it went public, and it got sold. So that was I guess a good exit for the founders.
Yeah.
But I really fell in love with real estate there. And I knew that technology could make real estate better. So when I left there, I started two companies. One was an online real estate brokerage, and one was a SaaS company that provided technology to real estate brokers. So we had big brokers all around the country using our technology. We hosted websites, we hosted the agent sites, we developed a CRM system that had some really innovative features to it that nobody was doing back then, like consumer behavior tracking, lead scoring, and it was pretty cool.
Well, an online real estate brokerage. I mean, is that like what, like a Redfin type of idea or something like that? I mean,
You know, a
what was
lot
the
of what we
premise?
did was replicated, and yeah, it was similar to Redfin. It was similar to, you know, Zillow had adopted some of the things that we were doing, but we were very good at creating demand and creating online leads. So we used the data that was out there, IDX, MLS data, and we generated leads for agents. And then, just like in this business, we got a referral fee when they closed on the sale of a home, and it was pretty effective. Um, and so was the,
Were you early with that, or was the timing
we were pretty
right?
early.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were pretty early on both of those businesses, and the big challenge for us was we were a startup, bootstrapping our operation, and then 2008 came,
Oof.
and you know, Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, mortgage meltdown, um, and 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 it became really challenging at that time.
Yeah, you mentioned Bear Stearns. My wife's father worked for Bear Stearns, and we were just starting to, you know, we were dating probably 3 years, I guess, in '08. And one day, you know, he's an executive, and the next day he's unemployed, along
Yeah,
with like
it,
thousands of other people that do exactly what he does, right?
yeah,
And I mean, '08 was kind of crazy. I don't think I realized. I think at the time I was working in like the Pods call center, right? And I knew that we were behind budget for the year, but that's like the exposure I had. I was a renter. I didn't really
yeah.
feel it and recognize the macro, you know, significance of '08 until much later. But what was that like, kind of going through that?
I'll give you an example. So I'm also a little bit unique in that I sold houses. Like I'm a real estate broker. Um, During my bootstrapping days, I had people on payroll, and I was selling houses to pay my bills and float my company. It was, I look back and it was, I don't know how I wouldn't be able to do that today. Like, you know, that's a younger person's game. That was crazy. But I remember in 2008, I had a closing, and I was representing the buyer, and we're supposed to close. Let's say it's a Thursday. We're supposed to close, and the title company calls me and says, "Hey, Dave, there's no money." I'm like, "What do you mean there's no
What do you
money? The
mean no
money gets there
money?
the day before we close. You have the money. Close the
Yeah.
home sale." And I called the real estate, the mortgage broker, said, "Hey, dude, where's the funding? You forgot a critical step here." And he said, "I've been wanting to call you all day, but I didn't know how to say this. But Dave, there's no money."
There's no money.
"What do you mean there's no money?" So do you remember back
I've never
in
heard
those
that. I've
days?
heard they don't have the money, or I don't have the money, but I've never heard there's no money.
Yeah, but back in those days, what the news was saying, the credit market is frozen. And nobody really knew what that meant. And then I'm on the phone with this guy, and I'm like, wow, I get it now. There's no money going between banks anymore. There's no overnight money. They all have warehouse lines. The bank froze them. So the credit market seized up for like a week, and nobody could close a home. That
Wow.
it it was really unprecedented, just nutty, crazy stuff that we hope never happens again.
Yeah, it sounds like kind of like the bank runs from the Great Depression.
Yeah, that unprecedented, just
There's
crazy.
no money.
There's
That's
no
crazy.
money.
There's no money. That's gonna stick with me. We got people checking in. Get in the comments, y'all. Let us know who you are, where you are, and what your questions are. We're gonna ask Dave Marron. He's over here giving us his time. Daisy's reporting live from the Byron Nelson.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, kinda. I mean, I'm here by myself, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's nice. Good for you, Daisy. How many marks deep are you right now? Let's put it in the comments here. No, we love Daisy. Enjoy yourself out there. Sherelle says, question for Dave. What was your word at RDC this week? Mine was excellence.
Oh, wow. I only get one word.
Yeah, I guess there was probably like some sort
Oh,
of
that
a
exercise,
yeah
dependability was
exercise.
my word. Yeah, we
Dependability.
did a little exercise at RDC. What a great job they did, by the way. It was a great conference. I just got back last night. Um, they had some really good content and good people too.
Can you explain just real quick what this exercise was? Like,
It
I
was
love these thought exercises.
Yeah, it was a core value exercise, right? So it was a way to try to get, you're sitting in round tables of, groups of like 10 and they're all over the room. And we had 40, 50 words on a sheet of paper and you had to pick 10 words that sort of speak to your personal core values. And then you had to cut that down to 5 and then 3 and then 1. Um, and so the last one on my list was dependability. That is something I try to instill in my kids, like, be the one who people can count on. And so
I love that.
that's what I narrowed it down to. And there was some really it just got the conversation going. Oh, what do you mean by that? And tell me more about that. So it was really good kind of icebreaker opening exercise.
I love that. I love that. Jenny Kirby checking in from Madison, Wisconsin. Love
Amen.
that. Jonathan Johnson checking in from the Lone Star State.
The great Jonathan Johnston, president
Yep.
of NTRP.
The illustrious. That's him. Caroline Cook, AI should be used as a tool and not a replacement. Yeah, for sure. Let's see here. Jackson saying, Brandy, that depends on those who use it though. Right now, a lot of new guys offload all their decision making into it because it's easy. This is from a fresh off the block guy who says people just offload everything. I see that a lot. I see, like, how like we're quick to Google things. Well, now we're quick to throw it in chat or throw it in Claude or throw it in, and then we get whatever we get out, we just take it and say like here's because they
Yeah.
format it like work product, right? And so once it's like already formatted, it's like, hey, this is fully baked. Let's go. And it's not. It's not fully baked.
Also, I challenge you too, though, before you do that, before you put it in the chat or you Google it, to Brandy's point about critical thinking, just hit pause and just think it through for a second. We got to exercise this muscle up here, right? And you gotta keep that thing fresh. So I try to do that, and then I get frustrated, and then I'll go to the crutch. But first, just
Yeah.
try to figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. William's saying, yeah, we're in the warm-up innings. We've seen parts of this movie previously. Suzanne Kowalski, what's up, Suzanne? Asks, do either of you see AI replacing humans for lump sum and renter policies?
Hmm. Well, I could talk a lot about lump sum, so I don't know if you want to
Go for it.
go there now,
I
but
think we have to address it, right? I mean, it's huge.
yeah, it's a trend that's been accelerating, and it's here to stay. So I don't see it replacing. I see it enhancing, um, uh, but I don't see it. When you say replacing humans, that would be the counselor from the RMC side, most likely, right?
Assuming,
Um,
yeah.
I think that it can help, but I don't think it replaces. So where it can help is um, we got to just stop giving people a small pile of money and saying good luck. So we advocate here for the guided lump sum. We have a tool that we developed, and it can get the employee their money in minutes, and it can plug them right into our worldwide supply chain. That's the same supply chain that we use when we're counseling on the full service stuff. So renters, homeowners, international. So we got to give them the resources. It's just not fair to not do that. That's our job. And so there are some things that AI can do to help that, to kind of accelerate that, and put people in touch and get money in their hands in minutes rather than days or weeks. So I see it as an enhancement.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Suzanne, where I think this might have legs, this idea is the fact that there's not as much money in the lump sum and possibly the renter policies, right? I mean, when you take home sale out and you take household goods, out and you take I mean, when you start stripping away these managed benefits, right? Where's the money that supports the human being actually counseling people through this, right? So I mean, today's point, the employee deserves more, but we're already kind of going down a pathway where they're getting less. So now that they're getting less, how do we administer it in a way that's cost effective for us to do so? Because oftentimes lump sum packages and policies and programs are attached to other programs that we do want to manage, right? And so it's like, you kind of got to take one, to get the other. I mean, I know a lot of programs are 50-50. Some are, 80-20 lump sum now, right? But there's still 20% that might be home sale, right? And we need to go after that, right? So, Suzanne, I could totally see, developing agentic AI that replaces a person consulting on lump sum and renter policies. And yeah, I could totally see it. Do I like it? No, but
But that's you, right? Like I like the idea of giving. I think you have to do it all. I just think that that's what our clients expect, right? So you have to be able to provide the service the way the end user wants to receive it. So there's a lot of people. I mean, we have a lump sum product, and the transferee assignee can talk to a counselor. Most of them do not.
interesting.
Most of them can
Why do you think that
figure it
is?
out, and they're going to get their money, and then they get presented with how, if they want, they can spend it on a shipment or on the various services that we provide. They can do that, and they can talk to a counselor, and they can have them guide them through it if they want. Most of them, the vast majority, just want to handle it themselves. They take care of it. But some
Yeah,
do opt in and want to talk to the human being,
I
and
think
we'll
a
never.
lot of that there's like human avoidance. Like there's human on human avoidance, right? Where it's like I want to go into Macy's, I don't want to see anybody, I want to grab my sweater and get out of here, or self checkout at Target, I don't want to look at anybody. Um, and yeah, uh, that's a whole nother can. Williams saying companies making cuts because quote AI is better than humans end quote are going to find out those humans have institutional knowledge that AI may not be able to replicate. Um, Judgment, authenticity, inherently human traits that AI will never replace, and both of these are critical in global mobility. Yeah, we're seeing this a lot right now. This, I think it was Sam Altman, I think, came out and said something about there's a lot of AI washing going on where companies are doing layoffs and they're attributing it to efficiencies through AI, but really they're just doing layoffs. And they just
Yeah.
want to say everything's okay over here. We're actually just figuring out ways to do it without as many folks. And I don't think it's necessarily there yet. And I think William's right. What I've learned this year in my own business, my own very, very, very small sample size, is that each person I hire, if they're good, makes our company grow. Not in just
Yeah.
size and headcount, but in revenue.
Right.
And when I scale down the people, I scale down the revenue. So I think that's going to continue to still be a linear relationship for a while.
Yeah, that's a fair point, and that's a good one, William, too. Um, and again, it's just beginning, right? There's low hanging fruit out there. You remember what, maybe 15 years ago, some companies in our space outsourced, offshored some of the services, right? Like around expense management, and we
Yep.
could we could ship that out as cheaper labor over there, right?
Yep.
That that's the new AI, right? The AI is gonna, I think, gonna
Well, and
those
what happened to
those
those companies too? A lot of those companies aren't here today. A
right.
lot of those companies that offshored that business, like some of the back office accounting and expense and cutting checks, and even I used to get as a supplier, I'd get congratulations, you've won this move, and there's all this punctuation going on and like all this like
Yeah.
weird formatting and stuff, and I'm like, where are these people sitting? They're sitting in India. And so when they offshore all this stuff, somewhere else, to save money, but then I look around and those were the first casualties of our consolidating relocation market. And I don't know if, which came first, it's the chicken and the egg thing. Did they offshore because they were losing money, or did they lose money because they offshore? I don't know the answer to that, but there's a correlation that I've seen.
Yeah, but those types of tasks that typically are repetitive tasks that are not necessarily client facing, those are perfect for AI. And that, I think that's like, if you did that then, well, you might want to look at AI today for those types of tasks.
Yeah. Yeah. Suzanne just takes it one step further and says, I wonder if the folks who don't speak with their counselor have as good of an experience as the folks who do. Dave, if you give people options, do you measure kind of their satisfaction and how they felt about their relocation?
Yeah.
Maybe how they felt about their policy? What are you seeing from, like, what does the data tell us?
Yeah, there really hasn't been any difference.
Wow.
Because if you want to speak to the counselor, you speak to the counselor. It just, the folks who, if you're given the money and you're given the resources, really true resources, like you don't have to Google it. Here's somebody who this company uses all the time. They do thousands of moves with them. They can handle your shit. It's pretty straightforward. You got to lay it out for them. And once you do that, most people can handle it themselves.
Yeah. Farrell Elliott, hi, Dave and Ben from hot California.
Hey, Farrell.
You getting a heat wave out there?
I don't know. I went outside earlier. It was probably about 80.
It's warmer than Texas.
But I'm in the Bay Area.
Yeah, it's 75 here in Texas. Jonathan Johnson says, fun fact, my first job in relocation was with Relocation in 2003, which is now NuCompass.
Yep, that was before me, but Jonathan and I, our paths, he was here for quite a long time, and I remember that.
If anybody's got a Jonathan Johnson rookie card from 2003, it might be worth something these days. He's the president.
Let's see if I can dig one up, or at least an office Christmas party picture.
Yeah, let's see that. Let's start circulating that one around. Chris Lauterbach checking in from Prosper, Texas, in the DF Dub.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, William? Look, everyone's going down memory lane here. Fun fact: my first RMC partner as a corporate was Relocation back in the late '90s, and I'll never forget the consultant who mentored me for years. She's a legend, and so NuCompass will always have a special place.
Wow.
In my global mobility journey. Man, everybody's getting all misty-eyed over here.
Yeah, I'm getting emotional over here.
You have that effect on people here. Ed Stevens, fun fact, Relocation was the first to bring relocation to the web. You invented the internet. Look at that.
Yeah, I think Al Gore was on our board back then, so he took credit for that too.
That's awesome.
Hey, Ed. Good to hear from you.
This is great. Farrell says, if this was a prompt, my first relo job was Western Region DS for PHH. All right.
I think a lot of people can tie their careers back to PHH.
Nice. And just an update here, Daisy's only one margarita in, which is sad and disappointing. Must have
get on it
out there. Yeah, get out. Come on, Daisy. YOLO, Daisy. William's got a question here. Oh, he's so serious, William. Can we ask Dave about his insightful piece on the taxation of relocation expenses and why this industry should be advocating to eliminate this penalty, aka business expense, which would then lead to economic growth? Dave can explain this far more eloquently.
I guess we have to go there.
Let's go.
The people are asking for it.
The people want it. You got to give the people what they want.
All right. So I've taken a position and I've written about this and I've shared it with our with the work folks, and they seem to like the idea too. But somebody asked me to like sign a petition a year or two ago about we got to get the household goods exclusion back. Remember the good old days when we had that?
Pre-2017, yeah.
Yeah, and I think to myself, what is so special about household goods? Like, why does that one expense need to be treated differently? And then come to think of it, why is home sale treated differently, right? Why is any relocation expense treated as taxable income to the employee? Isn't that kind of stupid? Yeah. It's not income, it's a business expense. We need you here. So we're going to move you so that you can work for our company over there, right? Why would that be income?
We don't tax any other benefits. We're not taxing employees' health care benefits. We're not
Exactly.
taxing, I mean, yeah,
We don't
100%.
tax them when we send them to a conference to learn about AI. And so I started thinking about that. And my strong position is that it all should be treated as a business expense. None of this should be taxable to the employee. And I presented this to Anupam and Mike Jackson at work, and they said, well, the problem is the lobbyists are going to have to present to the House that it's still going to be a win in terms of tax revenue for the government. So I did a little bit of math and a little bit of research, and you know what, Ben?
What?
If you treated it as a business expense, it increases tax revenue to the federal government. So let's look at the stakeholders here. You have the corporation, the sponsoring employer, right? They have to gross up these expenses, which adds an expense to their P&L, which reduces taxable income,
Because it reduces, yeah, their income. Right.
right?
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, yeah.
Right? But don't fear, because the employee is going to pay for that. Well, the average personal tax rate paid is lower than the average corporate tax rate paid.
Okay.
Average employee pays an effective tax rate about 14, 15%. Average corporation pays about 21%.
21%. That's right.
So let's make it a business expense, not personal income. The corporation makes more money. The employee doesn't get bumped into another tax rate, and the federal government increases tax revenue. Why can't we get this done?
Wow. I don't think because no
Oh,
one's ever put it that way. That's why.
by
I
the
mean, that's a
way,
really great way to put it.
it's good for us too, right? Selfishly, it's good for our industry. And I did a little more research. And do you know what happens when people move? They spend money.
Yes.
They don't just buy a house in the new location. They buy a car, they buy furniture, they hire landscapers, they have the house painted. They even buy clothing at an accelerated rate. So it's good for the local economy. Oh, guess what else I found out?
What?
You know, all of us who are sitting on our sub 3% mortgages,
I'm not me, but yes, theoretically, a lot of you folks are
we
you
have a lot of inventory locked up
locked up.
because people don't want to move. We've got to make it easier for them to move, and then we lock up some of this inventory that first time and move up buyers are would love to get into, but we're keeping them off the market. So consumer wins, employee wins, corporation wins, government wins, local economies win. We just got to get this done.
Yeah, we really do have to get this done. In fact, I think your services are better used in the White House, Dave. I would vote for you, right now. Just go up there and we'll just put you in, midterm even. I don't
I'll get
care.
it done for you, Ben.
Yeah, get it done for us, Dave.
No, we need some help. We really need to take this seriously. It'd be great for our industry, and Lord knows our industry could use a little wind at its back for a change.
Oh yeah, I mean this was such a big headwind. I mean, we were already going through kind of a lump sum trend and cost cutting trends and all that stuff. And the irony too is when corporations were sitting on record cash,
Yeah,
and the stock market's at record highs, and we're all in an austere environment still and cost cutting environment still, which
right.
it never. I mean, when is cost cutting not a major trend, right? But that's a whole nother whatever. But yeah, I mean, since the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017, which was supposed to sunset, wasn't it in 25 or something?
Yeah,
But
it got
the sun didn't set,
extended.
Dave. What happened? Well, how come it didn't set? We need, yeah, we need to get you in. I think our message needs to be as clear as what you stated, too, because you're right. We're over here knocking on doors at Capitol Hill, and I have knocked on doors, and I have sat there in Capitol Hill with a representative, a Texas representative, and we talked about this. Yeah, I love it too, William. And look, you already got a vote. Donna's voting for you right now.
All
She's going to
right,
write it
Donna.
in the ballot.
I am not running. I just want to stay in my little company here, and I'm happy doing that. But we do need to we need to take this up. In case you don't know, ERC's been a little bit busy on the lobbying front lately. There's a bill before Congress just yesterday. Um,
I don't know how I feel about this bill. Can you explain this? Because I don't know which side of this I'm on. I got the mass email talking about, hey, write your congressman. Today's the day. It's really important, this and that. And I need a little more clarification. Do you understand this, Dave? What's going on?
I'm not an expert on this,
Okay, well, this is what we
but
do. We get on the show, we pretend, and then people
yeah,
take us
yeah, I'm
seriously.
happy
That's
to
what we do.
pretend.
Okay, let's pretend.
But I
Okay.
think uh, conceptually, I get what they're trying to do, right? We want to get big corporations, private equity funds out of the business of buying thousands of homes and then renting them for their cash flow, right? That
Okay.
makes it's very very hard as a. I remember this in like the short sale days, going back to our 2008 conversation when I was selling real estate. You know, it's really hard if you're representing a first time home buyer who needs a mortgage. It's very hard to compete with a private equity fund who's paying all cash. And by the way, I'll take the other three that are on the market on the street too. So that's unfair competition to to the consumer. So that is what they're trying to accomplish by this bill. Relocation sort of got swept up in it because I think the language around definitions is a little ambiguous. And so
This is
uh,
where I got confused, right? Because everything you said so far makes perfect sense to me. I shouldn't be competing with BlackRock. Sorry, BlackRock,
right.
good friends and sponsors of the show. But I shouldn't be competing with BlackRock, for my first time, for my FHA loan, for my first time home, for my family, right?
Right.
And them owning so much of the real estate, and frankly, and foreign investors too. I mean, there's a lot of investors who have invested heavily in U.S. residential real estate, right? And you're right, now it's kind of artificially, it's inflated the price of homes. It's made home buying and home ownership, which has been the American dream and the foundation of wealth in our country for maybe 100 years. It's made it unattainable for a lot of folks, to the point where now these Gen Z kids are like, hey, I don't even know if I'm going to own a home in my lifetime, which is kind of a scary proposition. And so this I'm in favor of. But then what I heard was RMCs are like, whoa, hold on, not so fast. Because are we now lumped in with BlackRock? Because now we take homes into inventory, so now we own them, and now are we an institutional,
Yeah,
player here?
and I don't think it's just inventory. I mean, we step in on a guaranteed buyout, for example, and we close the transaction, so we become a party to the transaction. Does that count? And I understand there's like I believe there's a 350 home limit. So like if it's less than 350 homes, you're probably okay. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're a big RMC and you're doing a couple of thousand, it could be a real problem for you. So I don't think whoever sat down to write this bill was not coming after the relocation industry.
I'm pretty sure you're probably
I
right.
think we just sort of like it's unintended consequences. We get wrapped up into it, and work did a really good job of getting the language changed and having some exclusions. And
Okay.
then that language got pulled at the last minute. I think it was yesterday or the day before, and the bill proceeded without those exclusions. So now we've got to go back to the drawing board and keep working on this.
Well, so now what is the stance of, though, what's the position of the industry? Do we think this bill is good or not good? Because this is what I didn't understand. It sounded like they wanted us to lobby with our congressman against this bill. But I do kind of like the aspect of, hey, BlackRock shouldn't own, half of
Yeah.
DFW, along with, foreign governments and investors as well. I do like that. Do I like the idea of an RMC who's also my customer and my friends, out there being lumped in with this? No, I don't. But I think it's a net positive. So but what needs to happen now, Dave?
Yeah, that I don't think anybody wants you to lobby against the bill because I think it's
Hmm.
good for consumers. I think we wanted to get that exclusion language in there that said, wait, like let's define this a little more specifically. It's not any corporation taking title to homes. We're helping homeowners. We're
Yeah.
improving the velocity of home sale transactions. We're not the ones getting in the way. We wanted relocation to be excluded from that definition, and we haven't been able to do that to date.
Yeah. Um, really, really good stuff here. This is really, really good, meaningful conversation. Viva Van Bakel says, "Great setup, Dave. This is European way of dealing with the topic of relocation cost." Viva, I thought of you yesterday. Not Amsterdam, Netherlands is playing in the World Cup here in Dallas, and they're doing their parade, their walk up right here with the orange bus. They shipped the bus over, Dave. The
Wow.
big double decker orange bus
Wow.
and like the orange throng. It's going to happen here in Dallas. So if anybody wants to come hang out, stay at my place. I got some extra bedrooms and
Ah, I
have
may
a big old,
need to come see my team in Dallas and maybe do a
bring the
little side
Heinekens.
trip.
We'll hang out. It'll be
Good to
fun.
hear from Vibe. Good to see
Yeah,
you, man.
love him. He actually came to visit me here in Dallas. He was on the
Oh,
show.
nice.
It was
He's a
fun.
legend.
He's a
Everybody
legend.
loves him.
He's a legend. Eric says, interesting. Hadn't thought about it in that way. Yeah, no, this is the way we need to talk about it too and continue to socialize this kind of stuff too. Jonathan Johnson's got a question here. Suzanne's saying you're making perfect sense. Yeah, for sure. Jonathan Johnson's got a question. Says, what changes do you foresee RMCs making to offset lost referral fee revenue from the decline in home purchases and sales?
That's a great question, Jonathan. And
Start charging for podcasts?
you guys may not like the answer, but you have to apply technology to the process. So some of that's AI, some of that's just old-fashioned automation, but you just have to be able to take cost out of the transaction in order to improve your margins. And you have to be able to not run away from where the industry is going and from where our clients are saying they want us to go, such as the lump sum situation. You have to lean into it and develop products that essentially automate that process. So if you can, you're making less revenue, but your margin's fantastic on that business if you apply the right technology to it. So you just got to keep after it and don't complain about it. Like it's what is happening. It's what the industry is demanding. So we've got to find ways to provide different services cheaper and still make our margin.
Yeah, and that's a great point about taking cost out of the transaction and everything. And Jonathan, I'll just kind of address maybe from the revenue standpoint. While I've never worked at an RMC, I do pretend to know a little bit about the model, right? And I think that there's opportunity to, as we've seen our customers, our global mobility customers, the corporate folks, their remit has started to expand and change a little bit and morph, right? And now they might be responsible for global HR, or they might be responsible for the remote work policy at a company. They're increasingly responsible for immigration, right? Tax has been kind of in the purview as well, but immigration's been this thing that's kind of stood alone and apart. And then, okay, let your law firm do that. That's just kind of different, and we'll talk to them from a file perspective around dates and things like that, and we'll swap info. But the RMC is not really adding a ton of value or a part of that transaction in the same way. But I think there's opportunity there. I think there's opportunities to do more consulting work around helping companies know not only how to get to a place, but like if they should go there or where they should stand up an office. Does it make sense? Which European country or which African country or which South American country do you want to be in and why? I think there's just opportunities. We've seen consulting companies come into our space and start to nibble at tax, at immigration, at advisory and things like that. But I think the reverse and inverse could be true too, where RMCs go and start to nibble away at some of those other services businesses that, I mean, we already have access to the
Yep.
clientele. We understand the problems. I think that's an area of growth.
I think it's a great idea. Ben, while we're on immigration, can we stay here for a little bit? Because I think this is
Yeah. Yeah, we could be here for 14 minutes and 27 seconds.
it's got the countdown. I think what's going on right now in immigration is just fascinating, and is will have a lasting imprint on our country and our industry for a long, long time. And I'll credit the Relocation Directors Council for this, because I had an epiphany this week at that conference, and I want to tell you about it a little bit and get your thoughts on it. So they had this great panel up there, immigration firm, big corporate mobility, and then we had some large corporates in the audience as well. And we were talking about the H-1B visa changes, and just the policy and culture around immigration that we're all used to by now. And if you remember, really the intention of that was to bring manufacturing back to the United States and protect American workers' jobs. And I was listening to these experts up there with that in mind, right? And is that what we're accomplishing? Really, we've been at this for almost 2 years now, right? Year and a half, anyway. Is that what's really happening? And I heard the immigration attorney say, but policies can change, and it changed after Trump won, and then Biden came and changed the policy, and things can change very, very quickly. But what I was hearing the corporates say is something really different. So what I heard them saying is, what are their workarounds? What are they doing in practice? And what I heard was alarming. Here's a semiconductor manufacturer, for example, who said, well, we have shifted and invested in, I think in this case it was India. We set up a center of excellence there. And this corporate said, yes, well, we set up a manufacturing facility in this other country. And that doesn't sound to me like American jobs,
No,
manufacturing
it
jobs
doesn't.
here.
Because when you don't allow the people to come to the jobs, then you end up putting the jobs, you push the jobs to the people.
So that's what happens, right? So stay there for a second now. But policy can change, and this can change quickly overnight. And then I asked the corporates, will it change quickly at your firm? And they said, no, we just put $1 billion into a manufacturing facility.
We just signed
No
a 5-year
policy
lease
change.
over here, or bought, or on a 30-year note to build a warehouse or a plant.
So these policies are affecting permanent structural economic change here. And I thought about it further, and when a corporate client builds something here, we don't just fill it with immigrants, right? We hire local people too, right? And they work there, and cafes open up around there, and maybe a hotel springs up, right, which creates jobs. And I just started thinking about the multiplier effect and the unintended consequences of these policies. It's just it has a staggering impact.
This is why economists have shown immigrants are net job creators. Immigrants are like, I forget the stat, and William's smart enough, he can, or Google or something. I want to say it's like 1.2 to maybe 2.0 jobs, per immigrant that are created, right? So they're net job creators. The idea that they come over here and they take away a job from John Doe, who's grown up here and lived here and is a 5th generation immigrant from England, is kind of malarkey, right? And I think it's such a simple interpretation of the problem. And I understand why it can win at the ballot box, because it's a headline soundbite kind of a makes sense, intuitive argument.
Right.
But when you really dig it, peel back the onion on this thing, and you look at it from an economics, like you're a guy that goes and does research and looks at 2nd order and 3rd order effects of things, and then you realize, oh crap. So wait, if you know, Elon Musk, and we'll just take his politics out, but if he doesn't immigrate to the United States to form, you know, we had PayPal, you know, then we had Tesla, now we got SpaceX is about to IPO, right? I think Jeff Bezos's parents were, you know, Sergey Brin from Google, you
Right.
know, I mean, uh, the founder of Apple, his, you know, Steve Jobs' dad, you know, was an immigrant. I mean, if these people don't come here, then they don't bring all these businesses, which then create all these jobs. And that's why we're so blessed to have, I mean, what percentage of the top 10, top 20, top 30 companies in the world call your, you know, call frankly where you live home, you know, because it's such a wonderful ecosystem for them to thrive in. And we're starting to chip away at the infrastructure, to your point, of this ecosystem to the point where it's going to become uninhabitable. And then they're going to be, I mean, if we're lucky, they're going to go to Canada, but they're more likely going to go to the, you know, go to Asia. I mean,
Right.
you know, Africa is coming in play, South America. I mean, there's all these places that they can go and operate. And you're right, it's going to be very hard to reverse that tide, you
And
know.
it's
And
not, it's no longer what might happen. Like, it's happening. It's happened. And it's like where it's happened, it's never going back. Like those jobs aren't coming here. The investment's been made. It's done. So we really need to get out of the theory, get out of the politics of it. Like talk to big manufacturing companies and find out what they've done. And it'll blow your mind. It's not good for the
William,
country.
yeah, William Taylor saying for every H-1B worker, 3 net new jobs are created.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
Yeah,
I knew we had
we need
access
it.
to the technology. Yeah, so no, I think you know, I appreciate you saying that, and I think that more leaders need to be talking like this because the assumption, I was just talking to somebody on my team earlier today, you know, the assumption is that guys that look like us that run companies believe a certain thing. And the truth of the matter is we're smart enough to actually know the math on this stuff and understand that, you know, it doesn't work that way. And I think that it's really important that we're socializing these ideas
Yeah,
because
yeah, I agree.
we got midterms coming up. We've got, you know, a federal election in a couple of years, and I do take solace in the fact there's a couple of things that there won't be permanent changes. So during Trump 1.0, there was a time when the U.S. was not the number one destination for the world's top talent, and Canada, I believe, became number one for like 2 years. Yeah, that's when they were like putting up these, you know, billboards like, "Hey, come to Canada, you're
Yeah,
welcome here." Yeah, you know, yada
yeah,
yada. And we actually became number two for a bit,
yeah.
and then we got back to number one, and then we got back to number one. And my hope is that that the U.S. continues to be the place of preference for the people. We may not be able to recover the factories that are getting built in other places and the, you know, all that stuff, but you know, apples to apples, I hope that the U.S. continues to be a place where people want to be, the smartest people want to be, and then I think when they get here, they'll build new factories one day, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I'm sure you're right. But what I want right now is what's best for our economy.
Yeah.
And this isn't it.
Amen. You're absolutely right. Jackson Taylor, and Jack's from up in Canada also. He says absolutely. Just as long as supply keeps pace with immigration increases, so equilibrium keeps, then it's a net positive growth factor. Keep in mind, Canada is the reason it is economically is because we have no supply. Healthy balance of people in with new supply needs to be balanced. You know, and this is I mean, people talk about this, and the thing I'm kind of worried about a little bit is like this whole like these layoffs being attributed to AI and the speed at which AI is disrupting kind of middle management, frankly, is what I'm seeing. You
Right.
know, and I look at it from the lens of our industry because we have a recruiting firm. You know, that's half
Yep.
of our business. And when I look at the types of jobs that are being recruited for, and I don't know if it's indicative of the entire landscape or not, but you know, the account managers are in lower and less, you know, less demand. Relocation consultants are less demand, but that's due to volume. Um, there's a lot of like these expense management and billing type of jobs and things like that we're not seeing. The marketing jobs, frankly, I'm a little surprised we haven't seen more demand on the marketing
What
side.
are you seeing?
A lot of sales, which is
Yeah.
due probably to revenue shortfall, but it's also due to the fact that people, I think, are placing bets about things improving relatively and relatively soon. So that's exciting to me. And then like senior
That's a very
leadership.
good indicator.
Yeah. When people are plunking down six-figure salaries for salespeople in a space,
Yeah, they're optimistic.
they are optimistic, and they think that the curve, the runway is near, right? It's not like, okay, we're gonna hold on and pray for 18 months. It's like,
Right.
no, I think 6 months, I think around the corner, I think we're gonna start seeing some stuff. So I think that's good. And then we're seeing like a lot of like general managers on the moving side and like strategic leaders within the RMC side and some of the other service provider sides, which I'm excited about as well. But that middle management layer is getting compressed, I
Yeah,
suspect.
for sure.
Yeah. So, hey, this is really fun, Dave. But you want to have even more fun?
Yes.
All right, let's play a game. You want to play a game with me?
Let's play a game.
Overrated, underrated. All right.
Okay.
I want to look into the mercurial mind of Dave Marron here. Okay.
Be
We're
careful.
gonna see overrated, underrated. Get in the comments, y'all. You know what time it is. Dave, do you know how to play the game?
I am familiar.
Okay. We are going to, it's very simple. I'm going to give you a topic. You are going to tell me if it is either overrated or underrated. And then, of course, I'll tell you if you're correct. All right, let's go. First one up. Oh, here we go. They didn't invent the chicken sandwich. No, they didn't invent chicken. They invented the chicken sandwich. Chick-fil-A, overrated or underrated?
Well, I know how you like to mix it up and you like a little controversy on this show, right?
Yeah,
So,
I do.
I know where you're going to go with this.
Are you
but
going to besmirch the chicken sandwich?
I'm going overrated. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's a chicken sandwich. Calm down. You don't need to wait in line a half hour for a damn chicken sandwich.
Are you getting the fried chicken sandwich or the not fried one?
Ben, it's a chicken sandwich.
But when
Just
you
leave
fry
it at
it's
that.
so good.
It's got a pickle on it. If you're lucky, 2 sliced pickles, a piece of bread and a chicken. You don't need to wait in line a half hour for that.
Now
in your car.
hold the phone, okay? You got to get the spicy chicken deluxe. Everyone knows you got to get the spicy chicken deluxe. You get a piece of lettuce, you get a tomato, you got the pickle.
They throw a piece of cheese on that. Who
They do the
chicken
deluxe.
sandwich?
It comes with jalapeno jack.
Yeah. Okay. Move. Next question. We're going to agree to disagree on this one.
And you know what? And if you had the lemonade, and if you're trying to watch your figure like I am, maybe you split it up. You go half regular, half diet, and they make the diet with like a
I do appreciate that they have iced tea. Not all places do.
Are you a sweet or unsweet guy?
Unsweet.
Yeah, you're a Yankee. You're up from north. Yeah, you're an unsweet.
I know my southern friends think I'm crazy for that.
No, I mean it's the wise decision. All right, no points for Dave in the first round here. And next one up, overrated, underrated. Get in the comments too, by the way.
Okay, I'm going to do it to you
people checking
again
in here. Farrell saying best chicken sandwich, just something about it. Cheryl saying, but their tea and Arnold Palmer's are very good.
Agree with you there.
Jonathan Johnson, the best chicken sandwich. I think you had everybody for 56 minutes in the palm of your hand, Dave.
I knew that was going to be a hot take, and I wanted to just mix it up a little bit.
Donna says Popeyes. This was a big deal a few years ago. Popeyes chicken sandwich, the new one.
Yeah, and well, you don't have to wait in line. Carolyn, thank you. Finally, some support from my Arizona friend.
Bert says, but their drive-thru's so efficient.
It is pretty efficient, Bert. You're right. It's gotten a lot better.
You know what we have? I don't know. Everything's bigger in Texas. We have 3 lanes at our Chick-fil-A's. 3 lanes.
Okay. Back to the next one. Where were we?
I'm not waiting. People are enjoying this one. It's so funny. We talk about like important things, existential crises in the relocation industry. We get a few comments, chicken sandwich, besmirchment, and the knives are out. This is great. All right, next one up, overrated, underrated live streaming sports.
This one, this one's overrated. I'm so upset about this. I love sports, right?
Yeah.
I love sport. You know what I also like to do when sports
What?
are on? I like to
What?
record it.
Ooh.
You can't record
To
something
skip the
that's playing on
commercials.
Prime, and you can't hit the back button and watch two football games at the same time.
Oh,
Like, when's the last time? Could you imagine if let's relate this to our business, right?
yeah.
Because this is going backwards.
Hmm.
This is live TV when I was 7 years old, and you had four channels, and if you missed
You
it,
had
you
to get
missed it,
up. You had to get
right?
up to change it.
That's what's happening now. Why are we accepting this? It's not right. I don't like it. I want it gone.
Well, so what I do is I use YouTube TV now. Okay. And while they don't have commercials, now I have to look at some stupid AI polar bear for 30 seconds, to soothe me while because they haven't sold
Right.
the commercial time yet. Yeah, you make a good point. But what I do like is I like that I can put 4 games on at once, so there's some
Well,
perks.
you're a big baller. You're buying the whole package, right? I'm too cheap.
I do. I got the platinum YouTube
Yeah,
live.
yeah.
Yeah, I was watching the NBA Western Conference Finals game with Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder last night, and I didn't notice the commercials. I didn't. Um, I don't know. I enjoy my YouTube TV. I do.
Okay.
I thought I was so anti for a while. I enjoy it. I don't do the Hulu live sports thing, but let's see here. Let's see if there's something we can agree on here. Let's try the next one here.
Okay.
Overrated, underrated, pickup trucks.
Okay. I love me some pickup trucks.
Okay.
Underrated. Can we
Underrated.
agree
You
on
know
this
what?
one?
I'm with you. Even though I've never owned a pickup truck, I don't think I ever will own a pickup truck. You know what? I like to rent them though. When I go to another city, like say I'm
Yeah.
flying into San
You
Antonio and
feel good, don't you?
I want to really get into it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll
Yes.
get a
I've
pickup truck.
done fancy cars. I've done electric cars. I have an electric car, but I've had a pickup truck for 10, 12 years, and that's my go-to. And I'll always have a pickup truck.
What are you putting in the back of that pickup truck?
I put a lot of things in the back. We are the opposite of hoarders. Like, we're done with something, it goes in the trunk, and we're getting rid of it. Like, I'm handy. I build things. I've always got a project going on, and I need my truck. And I think they're great. I think they're fun to drive. I like being up, on top of things.
Do you get a lot of calls from friends though that are like, "Hey, I just got this thing on Facebook Marketplace. Want to go help me pick it up?"
Oh yeah,
You're the
oh
guy with
yeah.
the truck.
I'm the guy with the truck, but for a little beer, I'll help you out.
Yeah. I just impulse bought a patio set at Sam's Club. Will you help me go pick it up, buddy? Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's
That's
what
great.
friends are for.
Yeah. This is great. People are getting into the comments. A lot of Spurs fans over here. Yes, for sure. And people are saying if they could split the sports with Bluey, I'd be in. That is true, Sarah. You can't pick what you want on one side and the other. There's just like, oh, you get the sports arrangement, you get the news arrangement, whatever. That's definitely needs to be improved. The 209 is all pickup trucks.
Yes, it is.
Where's the 209?
That's Central Valley, California. Big ag community out
Okay.
there. So Stockton, kind of.
Farrell, you've got your friend in Dave. Dave says, hey, 6-pack and I'll move something for you. Sherelle says underrated King Ranch F-150
There you go.
F4 is my new daily. That's a
Yeah.
nice truck. King Ranch, huh? That's tall cotton right
Island. That's fancy
there.
trucking.
Oh yeah. There you go. God bless Texas. There you go. Melody says, agree with Dave. Ben, you live in the Lone Star State with no pickup truck, haul everything, pull boats. Come on, Ben. I don't have
Yeah.
everything or boats.
You need to get yourself a Raptor.
I was riding around in a Raptor in Puerto Rico, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, for sure. All right, let's go. Next one, overrated, underrated, social media.
Okay, I did this. I'm going to go with overrated. It's overrated, Ben.
You're on a podcast on
I know
LinkedIn. The gall, the unmitigated gall.
It has its benefits. It certainly does, but I'm so sick of watching people do the doom scroll. And I fall prey to it too. I do it and then I delete whatever app that was for 30 days and I try to, but I am really making a concerted effort to do more in-person stuff these days. So just generally, I want to get back to that.
I love it.
Going to these conferences, having dinner with somebody, just, making those connections. We've drifted away from it, and we need it back. It's so important.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. You're right though. I mean, Instagram can steal me for 2 hours a night. I get home and I'm just like
Yep.
laughing at stuff. And I tell myself I'm learning things or whatever. And maybe I am, but I don't know. Yeah. If I spent that amount of time with
Yeah, I'm
my
moving away
kids.
from it. I'm trying to move away from it, but it's hard.
Last one up, airsoft guns, overrated, underrated.
Okay, this is an interesting one. I never understood it, and then my kids took me airsofting. I guess it's a verb now, but I think they're underrated. I couldn't believe we get in there. It's a warehouse. There's 50 grown men and kids in there, and there are people who they're like, in SWAT gear and like full combat
Tactical
fatigues and everything. And my heart was racing. Yeah, I'm jumping through windows. I'm rolling on the ground. I'm hiding under stuff. And I probably got, I think I maybe shot one person. I probably got whacked 12 times. I was terrible at it, but it was so freaking fun.
Did it make you feel like a kid again?
What's that?
Did it make you feel like a kid again?
Oh, totally. And my kids are making fun of me and having a great time because they're great at it. I was terrible at it, but man, it was fun.
Does it hurt getting shot with one?
It doesn't. If you want to layer up a little bit, and you wear a mask and stuff. So if you get hit in the skin, it'll leave a mark, but it's a badge of honor.
Yeah.
If you haven't tried it, guys, you got to try this. Get a 15-year-old to take you out to an airsoft warehouse and just run around for an hour and a half. It'll be the best workout you ever had. You can't believe, and your heart is pounding the whole time. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it sounds great. My kids would love that. They're 8 and 11 now. Just had birthdays, but they're really into Nerf wars. So I'll come half the time I come home, I walk in the door and I just get pegged in the forehead with a Nerf dart.
Oh, I love it. That's the gateway gun. Next up is airsoft.
Yeah, they would love that. Of course, the pellets are probably harder to find and pick up and everything.
Yeah, oh yeah.
This is great. This is a lot of fun. Dave, really enjoyed kind of getting to know you better and chatting here, and it looks like everybody else did too. So
I had a blast. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, thanks everybody for getting in the comments. You guys were amazing today. Really on your A game. Hit that like button. Let Dave know he did such a great job, and we really appreciate you. We wouldn't have a show without y'all out there watching. So really appreciate y'all for tuning in, and I will check y'all next week, I think. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.